Thoughtless casual gaming. Thoughtless casual gaming. Thoughtless casual gaming. Thoughtless casual gaming.
3, 2, 1. No, we're already recording.
Oh, I forget. We're doing this in person, so the 3, 2, 1 I'm so used to.
Yeah. There was no 3, 2, 1.
There was no 3, 2, 1. You just pressed a button, didn't you?
I did.
Okay.
Where?
Cool. So, hello. You're listening to Thoughtless Casual Gaming with Brett and Jace. We are a Geelong-based gaming podcast, and we're back again after not even 2 weeks.
No, guess who's back?
Back again.
I feel like we've done that.
We have.
Yeah.
I think I
have to find
sang
a
it
better
once. And
Yeah, that was a mistake.
was
Who
it?
does sing that?
Eminem.
Yeah, we should probably leave it like that.
Thank you very much. Ah, dear. This is the kind of abuse I get on a daily basis, but that's fine. I'm used to it.
You wouldn't have it any other way, let's be honest.
No, I wouldn't. That's true. So, since we last recorded, there have been 2 things that have happened. Firstly, it was Christmas, and secondly, New Year's. It is a new year.
It is. Does that make it a new season?
This season of what are we talking?
The podcast?
I don't know. That's up to you. You're the one that numbers these.
Oh, great.
I know we're doing our 37th episode.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And we've had 2 mini episodes, which I haven't counted, which are for Patreon. So if you're a Patreon, you have access to probably about 10 minutes of me talking crap.
I need to do more of those, yes.
You need to do some of them.
That
So
would be more. Like, it's not...
Some would be good, and some from you would be decent content. So,
let's not push it.
yeah. But since our last episode, what have you been up to?
What have I been up to? Well, I was about to launch into, things that I've watched, because I feel like that's the least hobby-related thing, but also I feel like it's also a good segue into what you've done, because often you have watched similar, if not the same
True.
things.
Yes.
So I'm going to hold off on that, and we're
Hold
going to
that
come
thought.
right back. Bought is an interesting term at this time of year, because I have not done a significant amount of purchases, yet my collection hath grown, which is glorious. And this is the joy of also having a Christmas birthday timing thing for my presents are combined. And there comes an age where that is a useful thing.
It is.
So, actually, and even before I get into the Christmas joy, a thing happened the other day that I never thought would actually physically happen. And that is I officially have my hands on our Hobby Homies paint rack.
There's not many of those around. They're collector's items.
I think that was their first ever event comp thing.
Possibly.
Maybe.
Possibly.
So 1991 was the year. No.
It's a joke that keeps on giving.
Oh, it's glorious. But it's actually in my possession, so now I need to put paint in it. That's a thing. And the other fun bit of this is because I also managed to snag one of their recent monthly giveaways, but the paint did not come. That giveaway paint did not come with the paint rack.
Is this paint giveaway that you can put in paint?
No, they're
paint
different
rack?
sizes
Okay.
at all. It doesn't work at all. But Fox had the paint rack. Shane has the paint. And now we get to do a direct comparison. So we will see what happened there. But anyway, that's glorious. So that's also coming. I'm getting some more Scale 75, the artist tubes, which I'm a massive fan of. So I'm very excited about that. But then Christmas happened. Not much happened for Christmas. It's kind of a non-event anyway. But my birthday comes at the similar time of year, and that's kind of where the fun begins. So my lovely wife, on very good advice, namely mine,
The best of advice.
it was the best thing because we're at that thing where you want something, you buy it. So you go, look, what the fuck do you actually want for your birthday? And I went, shit, I don't know, because I bought all the things that I want. And I have been I made a wet palette. And it's been my staple forever, and it does exactly the same job as everyone that's ever been bought. But it's something that I didn't own that she could buy me. So I suggested that she buys me a wet palette. So I have now one of the Redgrass games, the second version, and the studio, like the extra large. It's fucking huge.
Okay.
It's the best thing in the world. There is so much room to put paint.
Is it better than the old Chinese food container with...
Look, it does the same job as the old Chinese food container, but it looks nicer. It makes my
fair
desk look prettier. The actual chamois thing holds water okay. I have no complaints about it. It was just that I could not justify spending the money on it when I could make one for like $1.50. But I didn't spend the money on it. I mean, technically I did. What's hers is mine. But this worked. But the other thing, also on great advice, a Vortex mixer. I
got one?
Yes,
Ooh.
I have one. And I am resurrecting, but I am basically a paint, like an acrylic Jesus.
Damn it.
I
was hoping you wouldn't say that.
Like, I'm putting a little stainless steel shaker ball and shaking paint that has been sitting in a rack for too long, that has separated well beyond what I thought was repairable, and a little bit of time and some little buzzy fingers, and it's a brave new world.
Don't tell me that.
So that's it. I mean, your other option is you can come with all your paint and you can just sit there and mix.
That's an option,
because that's more convenient for me than bringing the one little Vortex mixer over and just leaving it with you for an hour.
That thought never crossed my head too. I was sitting here thinking, okay, well, what do I put the paint in to transport it over? I'm sure I've got boxes of some. Yeah, anyway.
Yeah, no. So it's glorious, and it's sitting on my painting desk, and every time I want to do something and paint something, and sometimes when I don't want to paint something, I'm just shaking things.
You're just sitting there vibrating.
Very much so. That's pretty glorious. And then some other jerk just randomly dropped something in my letterbox the other day as a sort of bit of a Christmas / birthday / thing. So I also ended up with Medusa and Black Bolt, which is the correct order in which to say it. It's not Black Bolt and Medusa. That's what it says on the box. The box is a misprint. It is Medusa and Black Bolt for Marvel Crisis Protocol. So firstly, thank you. That was completely unexpected and appreciated.
It was Christmas and a birthday.
It was all of those things.
And I thought I should own up to it this year, as opposed to last year where it took you 6 months to actually confirm.
Well, I mean, I feel like we all knew what we knew, but it was also one of those things go like, I'm not going to say it first. If you're not going to say it first.
Exactly.
No, we all played that game forever. But this was glorious. So that moves me on to my painted things. Namely Black Bolt and Medusa.
Or Medusa and Black Bolt.
Medusa and Black Bolt, as the case may be. And that's the order in which I painted them. And man, Medusa is a hunk of plastic.
She's got a lot of hair.
Yeah, and it's very solid, and she's a hefty piece to pick up. It's actually really nice because she's not one of those like Storm and a couple of those
where they're a bit flimsy.
very flimsy. No, she is rock solid. So they were actually really nice to paint. That was, and look, they're not 100% finished, but it's pretty close.
But I've seen them and they are looking pretty.
And with that, I had most of, if not all of my Marvel stuff that I planned on using anytime soon painted, except for bases. So I went back and I started doing bases. I spent a night just painting bases. You're welcome. They're not finished, but they are more base than they were before.
Which is saying something.
Yeah, I mean, was it ever going to happen otherwise? That was the concern. And then the only other thing, like I literally sat down to paint. I think it was before Christmas at some stage, and I sat down and went, "Fuck, I've got nothing that isn't a base that needs painting." And I was kind of scrounging, and I just found one of the vampires from Curse City. And so I spent a night just painting him because I ran out. He was primed, so I could. And it was still
ready.
the dodgy prime, but it's it was still easier just to sit down and paint something than start something else.
So when did we get those Curse City models?
Ooh, when did Curse City first come out? Because then.
Okay. Whenever that was. And because we went in with, there were 8 of us
8.
all up,
Yep.
and split the models. Haven't played the game. The game went out of production very quickly and is coming back now.
Yeah, and I don't even think it's coming back as a limited release. I think it's just
No.
coming back.
It's coming back with expansions.
Oh, shit.
So-
well, we're going to have to split those and then
We're
never
going to have
play
to
it.
play the game to...
I feel like if there is a group of people I know that are notorious for buying into things and then never playing them,
It's us.
it is that group of
Yep.
people. So here we are. But I have now painted, that is the second one that I've nearly painted from that box.
I finished mine.
Show off.
Yeah, I know.
Um,
I thought there was a time limit or something on it, so I did them.
well, the time limit was before we play.
Yes.
So
So technically that time limit is still going.
it is an infinite amount of time. Other things that have happened, I may have... You know that Lord of the Rings commission type deal I did that I raged about for most of this year?
Yes.
I haven't learnt my lesson.
What have you
And
done?
I may have picked up another, not Lord of the Rings
Okay, that was...
piece. Again, limited number of models, much nicer, already assembled, already. So I just need to lay paint on them, and they're Infinity models, so they're a lot nicer to paint. And I'm actually feeling pretty confident that they will go together pretty quickly, pretty nicely. Famous last words.
Is this related to the paint rack?
I picked them up at the same time.
Gotcha.
So, look, there was mutual benefit. Somebody owns quite a number of 3D printers and would like to play Infinity without painting it. Mm-hmm. I have a mild terrain addiction and find painting
Mild?
Infinity a cathartic experience.
When I first met you, you had a garage full of terrain. I think you've culled a bit since then, but
I got rid of the 40k stuff.
so now you need to replace it with other stuff.
Yes.
Okay. No, that seems fair.
I thought so. Like, you can never have too much in the way of things like, I'm thinking Mordheim. I'm thinking,
More time.
yeah, like Marvel. I now have a table worth of Marvel terrain I need to paint. But can you have too many tables of Marvel terrain? I don't know.
Considering there's currently 3 of us playing
Well, that means we need at least...
one table.
Well, we can convince somebody, and then we're 2
Okay.
that we have. But if we convince someone else,
Then that's 7.
yeah, that still doesn't math, does it? Shit, maths
works.
no, anyway. So I feel like we can never have too much is the moral of the story there. But I like terrain. It's pretty, and I want more. And I own a lot of files, like a lot of files that I have not printed. And if I don't have to print them, that's even better. So I may be picking up a small, let's call it a small Infinity commission. It's small. It's fine. And then the only other thing that wasn't watching things was I got sick of having to refer to PDFs and things for rules for Marvel Crisis Protocol. So I cracked the shits and printed some rule books and the new cards for things that had been updated. So they are now done. I picked them up today from Officeworks, which was glorious.
They're very pretty. Thank you very much.
I like I was worried that printing them in like in an A5 was going to make them hard to read, but I don't think so. And now I just need to laminate the actual cards. That's the plan. I'll cuddle them up and laminate them, and they're all good. And then onto the segue piece. So things I have watched. So just chime in
Yep,
as
sure.
needed. Hawkeye. Completed.
Done.
Finished.
We got up to episode 5 last episode.
Yes.
And then the 6th and final episode came out just before Christmas, I think.
Yeah.
From memory.
Which, I mean, it happened like just before Christmas. So it was a very, like, it was a fourth wall
Yep.
type deal there. which was kind of nice. I ultimately, like flat out, I liked it. Mm-hmm. I liked Clint Barton as a real human.
Yes.
I liked Kate Bishop as an overall character. Mm-hmm. I like the fact that they brought back, and let's put the spoiler alert in now. Yeah, I'm going to say it. I like the fact that they brought back Wilson Fisk.
What? When did that happen?
Oh, shut up.
Okay. He was good.
He was good.
He was good.
It was not the Wilson Fisk I expected.
It's the one from Daredevil.
Yes, and it was the
Did
right
you
actor.
watch Daredevil?
Yes. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I think it was the right actor. It was the right everything. Agreed. And I like the fact that they've now made Daredevil, with the inclusion of Matt Murdock in there, they've made him actual part of the MCU. I just felt Kingpin was very hands-on for Kingpin.
Well,
it was.
He kind of is a hands-on guy. Like if you think the Crisis Protocol, for example, he does a lot of hitting in that. Like he's a tough guy. He's big, but it's not fat. It's all muscle.
Yeah, I think going from Daredevil to this, though, he played in the gutter a lot more than he did in Daredevil, where he kind of sat in his ivory tower and he was kind of the final boss fight, almost. Whereas this, he started, like, his first appearance, he's getting his hands dirty, which was interesting and unexpected.
Yes. Yeah, I wasn't expecting so much punching.
No.
And I don't know Kingpin enough to know really what his powers are, that sort of thing, but he can obviously take a hit.
Yeah, and he did.
And dole it out as well.
Yeah, and I mean, he's a scary dude. I like it. I know there's been a little bit of kind of up in arms around the whole Agent 19 thing. Is it 19? I think it's 19. So the SHIELD watch.
Oh, okay, yep.
Because now that they've officially made Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. not canon, they've basically recast Mockingbird as Clint Barton's wife.
Okay.
That
was not obviously fully explained.
No.
The Rolex was to a point, but left very much open.
Yeah, so, and it was literally the number is the agent number, which is the same one. So, I mean, I know there's some people that are a little bit upset by that. I like the fact that there's a little bit of a backstory to the two now.
Yes.
So if you completely ignore Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., as we all probably should, it wasn't that good.
I didn't watch an awful lot.
I know. I started and then went, no, I can do better than this. Yeah, I didn't hate that. What I'm really curious to see the spin-offs potentially from this with Echo.
Yep.
I'm not 100% sure that Kate Bishop has been set up to be enough.
Probably not enough, but is the next iteration going to be... They're probably not going to be as professional, let's say, as the current iteration. So, I mean, if you look at it this way, we've got new Hawkeye, we've got new Widow, we've got new Cap.
Yep.
They're not A-graders yet.
No. And realistically, even though that, Strange, Wanda, Captain Marvel, all are heavy hitters, they're not very... they probably don't have the same tactical acumen. They don't have the same, decision-making skills that the last lot had. Not that, I'm thinking Tony Stark in particular. Big dude. Maybe some questionable decisions. But anyway. So there's a lot of that, and I think that will be part of it. But I almost feel like they need a second season of Hawkeye just to make Kate Bishop more of a badass, to be able to stack up. Otherwise, she is playing very much second fiddle to the level of badassery that they've set up Falcon.
Yep.
As an example. But ultimately, it was fun. It was pitched at the right pace. It was the right level of action. It was the right level of humor. It was the right level of family fun. It was the right level of... I feel like it was the right level of risk for TV show.
Where would you rate it in the current scheme of things as far as TV shows?
WandaVision is still the pick of the litter.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard when so many of them are different paced to compare apples and apples.
I think just going by an enjoyment rating, I think I enjoyed Hawkeye more than any of the others.
Okay.
WandaVision probably second. Falcon Winter Soldier I enjoyed more than I thought I would. Loki I enjoyed less than I thought I would.
Agreed.
Is that it?
What If?
Oh, yeah, What If can stay down the bottom.
Agreed. Yeah, so, and I do, I'm doing the same thing. I'm thinking, is it Hawkeye or is it Falcon and Winter Soldier? Which is the one that I enjoyed the most? And I feel like this was the one I enjoyed. I probably enjoyed this the most. I liked the fact that Falcon and Winter Soldier was such an MCU tie-in, and this feels a little bit separate at this point in time.
Yeah, no, I get that.
I know that they've got Yelena in there. They've got a lot of this kind of stuff playing on, but it was surprisingly good.
Agreed.
Yeah, I'm keen to see what they do with another one. So there was that. I am still working through, but currently season 2 of The Witcher is my...
Have not started yet.
Okay. Henry Cavill is still amazing. He, and as much as he has turned out to be Lord of the Nerds,
he's just the perfect man.
Is there anything
He's so dreamy.
And I've actually seen people get annoyed by the fact that he is being lauded as the Lord of the Nerds. Anyway, I just think the fact that he is so open and upfront and honest and unquestionably cool, that he can bring what is often a stereotyped hobby into a limelight and just stand by it and go, what, you're going to tell me that Superman's not a pretty wicked ass dude?
Yep.
Look at this chin. Shut up. What do you question?
If Superman plays Warhammer, why the hell aren't you?
Yeah, this is it. It's. I think it's kind of cool, but not maybe to the level of. I've seen people go, "Oh, we need bloody Superman painting tutorials." I'm like, oh, maybe just calm. The dude just likes his hobby.
Yep.
He's allowed. It's good. It is what I expected from season 1. There is infinitely less jumping around in time.
Okay, that's
which
good.
I absolutely love. It's still really complicated.
Okay.
And I don't know whether it's that it's come from the games and there's already an established plot, but there's just, I'm doing the whole, oh, hang on, who is that? And where are you tied to? And who is that? And who's that guy? And where's he come from? So there's just a lot.
Definitely got to do the recap before I start watching season 2.
And we did a short recap, but it was not enough. I should have gone back and done a better one, because there's a recap built into you start watching it. It's like recap season 1. Yes. It was not enough. But it's good. Mm-hmm. It's just one of those ones where I'm currently, like, I'm watching it with my wife and she keeps pausing it and going, no, wait, hang on, who is that guy and why is he there and what's going on? And often in these instances, I don't know. Mm-hmm. And I'm just happy to write it and find out.
Yep. She's
less like that. But anywho.
Say, like, one of my watching experiences. So, like, I got very heavily into Game of Thrones. It was one of those shows that I watched because everybody else was watching, and by about episode 7 of season 1, I'm like, I still don't get it. Like, why is this what everybody's talking about? And then episode 8 happened, and I was like, oh, okay, now I get it. But one of the best things I did was when season 1 came out on Blu-ray, they had this option which was pretty much would give you on screen the name of each character that was currently in that
Little
scene.
health bar.
And you could select that to get a little history.
Okay.
So, that's how I learnt that Theon Greyjoy was not actually a Stark, because I just assumed he was, for example. So,
yes, it feels like you need a bit of that because there's a lot of characters coming in. There's a lot of kind of characters that maybe only played a bit part in season 1 now stepping into a little, and you're like, wait, who the fuck are you? What do you have? Who's this? How did this relationship happen? Anyway, and still trying to work out who's from Nilfgaard and who's from the north and who's from. It's hard work. It's good, but it's just a little bit of joining dots.
gotcha.
And then
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
So, I found out that, hey, we're going to watch this on Wednesday. So, Tuesday night, I forced the wife to watch Far From Home.
Good.
Because she had not seen it. And, God, that was a good decision because they pick up right up. Right? It's like there's no gap in between.
Negatory.
Spider-Man, the movie that everyone is going nuts about. Did you go nuts?
I won't say I feel like I went nuts less than. So again, I went and saw it with the wife. She walked out going, "This was amazing," more than I did.
Likewise. Same here. I mean, there were actual tears in the cinema from the person sitting next to me.
Okay, we didn't go that far.
But
Andrew Garfield did good though.
Andrew Garfield is a great Spider-Man. Like, I got pissed because they only went to 2 for him because I really enjoyed him as Spider-Man. Toby has his moments. And Tom Holland, nothing to take away from Tom Holland. He's really good, but I really liked Andrew Garfield.
Yeah.
And the one scene that really did it for me, we have said spoilers. I'm not going to go too spoiler heavy. I mean, obviously, if you've paid attention to anything, you know that the 3 Spider-Men are in this film. That scene where Andrew jumps after MJ and gives her back to Tom, like, that was emotional.
And it was emotional without him actually doing anything.
Exactly.
And that's the bit I really liked.
And if you didn't know, you wouldn't have known.
No.
And I explained that to the wife after because she hasn't seen either of the Andrew Garfield films.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh.
Yeah. But he played that so well because it wasn't scripted. It wasn't anything. It was just moment on camera, which I really liked. And I also really liked there was one there where they're just talking shit about all the stuff that they'd done. And he starts to get a little bit insecure about his street cred. And again, it was those moments that I think he outperformed the other 2. As much as I think Tom Holland as Spider-Man is the perfect.
Yeah,
it's
he's
great.
perfect. He's perfect as Spider-Man and perfect as Peter. Whereas, which way around was it? I think it's been a while since I've seen the others, but I think Toby was better as Peter than as Spider-Man, and Andrew was better as Spider-Man than as Peter.
Yeah,
I think that's the way around.
That.
But Andrew, I always loved him as Spider-Man, and I always felt that those two, like, there was a scene in, I think it's the first Spider-Man, where he catches a thief trying to break a car, and the thief comes at him, and it just the reaction that Andrew gives is like, oh no, my biggest weakness is knives or whatever it was, is just, it's spot on. It's like Spider-Man smartass.
Yeah. Equally, I think the thing that was mildly disappointing was that his so the Andrew Garfield bad guys were kind of given a little bit more, like it was more lip servicey.
Yes.
Doc Ock was still the big, Green Goblin is still a big.
Yeah, I mean, they're the two big ones. I mean, how much Electro do you really want, though?
I mean, not much to be honest, but it was a pretty lame ass character arc. And Lizard basically didn't appear.
Who was the other guy? There were two villains in Amazing Spider-Man 2, weren't there? Ignoring crazy Russian mob guy in a mechanical rhino suit. I was sure there was another bad guy. I was sure it wasn't just Electro. But like I said, it's been ages since I saw it.
Yeah.
And we definitely didn't want Topher Grace's Venom.
No.
From Spider-Man 3, nobody wanted that back.
Agreed. And look, we also didn't want Tobey Maguire from Spider-Man 3, to be honest. He aged, by the way.
He has aged, hasn't he?
Yeah.
It was 17 years between films for him.
Look, physically, it's been years. I completely get that too, but he starts being less credible as Peter Parker.
And they de-aged Doc Ock. I forget the actor's name. But, yeah.
Yeah. Look, ultimately, good movie. Ultimately, great concept. Ultimately, I like a lot about it.
It seemed to me like there were some parts in the middle that just kind of went on for a bit.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that was just me. I very much I'm the same as you. I really enjoyed it, but it didn't. I don't know which boxes it didn't tick, but it didn't tick them all.
Well, the piece I'm confused about with it is how does this contribute to the overall MCU story?
Well, technically, this is the third of the Spider-Man trilogy, but now they're talking that they might sign him on for another 3.
Yeah. I mean...
It's more into the Spider-Verse
it is.
than it is MCU.
But we already had multiverse from Loki.
We're getting multiverse in Doctor Strange.
Yeah, and look, I was probably more surprised that a TV series opened up such a massive part of the MCU. I'm surprised that they opened that with Loki more than with a Doctor Strange movie.
Yep.
But it felt like we definitely had a potential out for Tom Holland there. If he does walk away at the end of this, cool story.
Yep.
They can sign up a Miles Morales. They can sign up and that's probably your pick.
Oh, absolutely. And they even referenced it with Electro.
Oh, with it, yeah, Black Spider-Man. I liked that.
Yeah, I did too.
They could do a lot there. Whether Tom Holland's days or goes, but I feel like all this really did is potentially prove why Doctor Strange is still not qualified to be the Sorcerer Supreme and why he's still on the Avengers B team. And B kind of just reset the last Spider-Man movie.
It was a
actually, you know what
Control-Alt-Delete for Spider-Man.
You know what it really made me think of is I remember an interview with, it was somebody in the Disney, like it might have even been a Walt Disney kind of interview, where the question was asked, why do you keep killing off everyone's parents? Every Disney princess, has no parents. And the response was something along the lines of...
No parents. Sorry, I got
but the response was something along the lines of, all these movies are about coming of age, growing up. And the easiest way to force that is to remove the support network. And the easiest way to do that in a tiny little snippet of a larger movie is to just knock the parents on the head.
Yep.
And it feels like they've given Tom Holland the Disney princess treatment and they've just removed his entire support network.
Yes.
And now either he stands up on his own 2 feet and is a big boy, and that's how they enforce him to be enough of a contender to be in the Avengers moving on,
Yep.
or he doesn't renew his contract and disappears, and that's okay too.
Yep. Now I've just got Spider-Man Disney Princess image in my head.
Yeah, Tom Holland is now officially a Disney princess as far as I'm concerned.
He's the newest one since the Xenomorph, isn't he? Because now the Alien 20th Century Fox is owned by Disney, and the Alien Queen is now a Disney princess.
Well, is a queen a princess? I mean, she was.
Yeah. She is in my eyes.
Look, ultimately, liked the movie. Just had questions around what it brings to the overall.
Yep.
I like the fact they did a live-action Spider-Verse.
Yep. Yeah, very much so.
The animated one was more ridiculous, but pretty damn good.
Yep. It just needed a spider ham.
I was waiting for a reference,
Oh, I was too.
but alas.
Anything else?
No, that's lots.
That
I
is
feel
a
like
fair
we've
effort.
segued rather well.
Yes. Well, the only thing that I've watched that apparently you haven't is one episode of the Book of Boba Fett. And interesting side note, apparently my phone's autocorrect for some reason changes Boba to boobs. So the amount of times I've...
Book of Boobs Fat.
Yeah, look, I've asked people if they've... Nearly asked people if they've seen the Book of Boobs yet. First episode.
Fett is short for fetish, right? So it's boobs fetish.
The Book of Boobs fetish. But is boobs a fetish? Because I feel like fetish is sort of more of a niche.
It depends.
Depends on the boobs.
Yeah.
How did we get... No.
No one said they had to be human.
Okay, so Total Recall. All right. Episode 1. Really fucking good.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, I was hopeful not... Yeah, look, Mandalorian was great,
Yes.
but I didn't expect this episode to hold up the way it did.
Okay.
And it's sort of... The way they've done it is... It's sort of half flashbacks. So one of the first things you see is how the hell Boba escaped.
Dun, dun, dun.
So that was, I mean, they needed to do that. But
Yep.
yeah, God, it was, look, I'm very excited for the next episode. I very much enjoyed it. So, but yeah, it's one episode out of 7 and they're bloody weekly. So it's going to be one of those type of things.
Yeah, I held off The Mandalorian a long time, and then I got to binge the shit, all of them.
I can't do that, especially after seeing the first episode. There's I'll be seeing every Wednesday, I suppose it is. But that's it for TV watching stuff for me. Christmas came along. Christmas was Christmas.
Fuck, I'm glad there's only one a year.
Look, Christmas, I love Christmas for what it does to my kids. Every other part of me hates it. So it's a hard time of year. I said this time before. It's a very difficult time of the year for a lot of people because it's Christmas. Everybody seems to be happy. It's all family and presents and celebrations. And when that's not ringing true to you, December can be an absolute bitch of a thing to get through. But Christmas has come and gone. I did get a couple of things which I will mention. So a couple of us at work started giving presents out. I did get given the Goblin Loon Boss on the Cave Squeak model,
Ooh.
which is a very cool model.
He is.
I don't know what the hell I'm going to do with it because it's a great looking model.
Yes.
Alice has already painted one.
Mm-hmm.
I can't compete with that. Plus, I'm not going to, I wouldn't use it in anything. So if I paint it, it's going to be like for
A thing.
a mantelpiece thing. So I haven't worked out how to tackle that yet. I also got, this was probably one of the best things, but I went to one of my work colleagues' art exhibition just before Christmas.
Is this Lockie's one?
This is Lockie's one.
He appeared on the show, so we can
Yes,
talk flat about it.
Yeah,
we
absolutely.
know who that was.
We can talk shit about him, as he's affectionately or not affectionately known at work as half scale, because he's half the size of a real person.
Yeah.
His art show was very cool. Had a lot of really interesting pieces, and I had my eye on one of them, and I said, "Give me one of those." Not meaning give me, meaning I will pay you for one of those,
please.
but he gave it to me for Christmas,
shit.
so that was really fucking sweet. And then from the wife, I got a nice little present, which I bought for myself a couple of weeks before Christmas. And she nicely wrapped it, which was you may have seen them. There's a whole series of helmets done by Lego. Mm-hmm. I got the Boba Fett one. So it's a little mini Boba Fett helmet, which thankfully kept my mind a bit busy Christmas evening. So I got that done. He's upstairs. He looks fantastic. I held off on buying myself anything around about December. Post-Christmas, let's go for it. So, when was that? It was Boxing Day.
Release the hounds.
I was again feeling pretty average. So I messaged old friend Bradley, and I said, "Have you got any of this yet left?" And he said, "I've got one. Would you like it?" And I said, actually, before I said that, I went to the wife. I'm like, "Can I spend my Christmas bonus early before I get it?" She's like, "Absolutely." So I'm like, "Cool." So I went and picked up Dungeon Bowl.
Yeah.
And so I've now got that in my possession, and I'm very happy about that. The other day, I went in to throw the dice because I thought Rich has been really good and had the corn pitch for Blood Bowl on hold for me for too long. So I thought I've got to finally pick that up. So I went and picked that up, and while I was there, Alice popped in, and her and Rich were talking basing. And they're going back and forth, and this conversation is going back and forth. And I thought to myself, I was going to do these really cool bases on the Corn Blood Bowl team. The Corn Blood Bowl team was something that I had picked up and put down and picked up and put down and picked up and put down that evening, and been very strong, held off it, bought the pitch by itself. 10 minutes later, they're still talking bases, and I'm like, fine, whatever. So I picked that up.
You've convinced me. Twist my arm, why don't you?
So I bought that. And then the last little thing, which is not sort of hobby related, but at work, a couple of things have come in, and one of which was a particular pop vinyl. And I thought, look, it doesn't do anything for me, but I'll message the wife, see if she wants it. So she said, yes, I would. And I'm like, well, there's not really too much spending money in the account at the moment. It's all sort of divvied up, and we've got things coming, and there's more pay coming. It's like, it's that sort of pre-spending moment.
Yep.
So I'm like, oh, well, I could just buy it, or I could push the amount up a little bit and maybe afterpay, and then I don't have to think about it for a couple of weeks.
Future me's problem is
Future me's problem, exactly. Yeah. So what did I need? I needed, a little bit to push it up to the old afterpay level. And then I thought to myself for a while, and I thought, there's nothing really I need. And then realised that there was something out the back which not only pushed it up to the afterpay level, but doubled that, which was Castle Grayskull. So Masters of the Universe Origins Castle Grayskull came out. I had one out the back, And so I picked it up today, and as you saw earlier, it is upstairs, put together, looking pretty decently close to the original.
It is very, like, I looked at it and went, oh, it's Grayskull. And I looked and went, wait, it's slightly different to the Grayskull I remember from my childhood. Why is it different? And is it my memory that's distorted? Or?
No, it is slightly different, but the majority of it's there. The weapon racks are there. The little thing that they fight, that they punch, and it goes around and hits them in the back, that's there.
The little
the
trapdoor's
flag,
got
the
the
little
same
trapdoor.
artwork on it.
The stickers are all there. It's just, it's glorious. So I picked that up today.
So how soon do you reckon they're going to bring out a Snake Mountain with the little microphone in the snake?
Well, that's the thing. So let's just say Castle of Grayskull, Mattel Origins line, $200, right? Mm-hmm. Super 7 had the line for Masters before Mattel just got it back. And when Mattel got it back, they released these Origins line, which are basically the old models, old action figures, but with extra joints. So instead of...
None.
Yeah, they've got like a knee joint and an elbow joint. So before Super 7 gave it back, they released their version of Snake Mountain, which came out this year, start of this year, I think, from memory. But it was like Super 7 size Snake Mountain, so it was slightly bigger. It's probably about double the size, maybe. And that was a good, I think retail on that was $1,700.
Holy mother of God.
Something along those lines, maybe $1,300. I don't know.
Oh,
I
Lord,
did not
is
buy
it
it. But if they do release Grayskull, Snake Mountain in Origins, I mean, I used to have Grayskull. My brother used to have Snake Mountain. We had them as kids. If they released the bloody the Terror, what was it called? Terror Pitch, the Horde one, which had the little puppet thing that you put your hand in.
Oh, yes, I never had that one.
Yeah, we had that too. And yeah, if they release that, I want that too. And it just brings up the dilemma though that now I have a Grayskull upstairs. I have about half a dozen, maybe 8 of the original Masters action figures, and I have 3 of the Origins ones, just the main 3. So Skeletor, He-Man, Hordak, still sealed, still unpunched card. Do I open them so I can display them with Grayskull? I think that seems to be the thing to do.
Well, I mean, this ultimately comes down to whether they exist to be displayed with Grayskull or whether they exist to be new in box, unpunched.
I'm not a new in-box guy. I don't know why I do it sometimes. I don't do it often. I don't know why I did it with these ones.
Because you didn't have Grayskull.
Maybe that was the deciding factor. All right, good.
Okay, we're sorted.
All right, shall we take a
Silver
break
goblins.
so I can go upstairs and open them and then come back and let's talk about the year that was.
We could find out whether they smell the same as the originals. You know that smell that the originals have when you crack the box? That is currently an unknown. Just saying. And break. And we're back.
3, 2, 1. Did we get the 3, 2, 1 this time?
No. Do you want me to go back and do it? If I go back, do I then have to count an increase? Like, do I have to go 1, 2, 3 because we're going backwards? I'm not sure how that would work.
Dear. Well, we are back. We have closed the front door, so maybe there'll be less background noise. I don't know if it got picked up. Maybe not. We are recording this in basically my lounge area, which is a little bit different to where we normally record, so it might be a bit echoey.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of that.
But that's all right.
Occasional cat.
This is the level of professionalism you have come to know and expect from us. So
I feel like they listen to get an insight into our worlds, and this is basically just increasing the immersion.
yeah, that's a good way of thinking about it.
You're welcome.
Okay, cool. It is 2022.
Fuck me.
I
when
had to
did
write that
happen?
down once today, and it did my head in. So let's just have a look back on 2021.
Do we have to?
Let's look back on the good things of 2021.
All right, so this will be short, guys. That's all right.
It won't be long. We just thought we'd go through a couple of our highlights and just a little bit of a hobby rundown of the year. Did you have any particular achievement or thing that you're most proud of that stood out to you?
Most proud of what? Wasn't ready for that. Okay. Did we write that? Was that one of the questions? I don't remember.
No,
that
look,
being
this
one of
was the first thing
questions.
I wrote down.
Oh, I see what you've done here. You answered a different set of questions and then have thrown them at me.
Did we just come up with our own lists? And
I think so. The thing I was most proud of, I mean, apart from not just murdering a bunch of people,
that's pretty good.
which I thought was right up there, to be honest, because I have become a grumpy old bastard.
More so.
Yeah, like a whole lot. No, look, there were a couple of moments there that I thought were pretty nice. Probably most notably picking up the prize for the Blood Bowl painter competition.
Absolutely.
Which I did not at all expect, especially with the number of entries over categories and things like that. As I've kind of talked about previously, I feel like I maybe chose well, which helped that. But it regardless, there were a lot of amazing entries, and to pick up, the ultimately the prize was cool. Like,
and you've already got the prize.
yeah, so it's the succubus vampires. I ended up getting the full team, which is very pretty.
That's a very nice prize. Those succubus teams, like that Slaneshi one, I have been looking at for I don't know how long.
Yeah, I did the same thing. I did a real toss up between the succubus and the Grebo Dark Elves before I bought the Grebo ones. I'm not even sure what swung it, to be honest. So to have the vampires, which is another one of the teams I was really eyeing off, was super cool. And like the prize is cool, but actually just winning the category was kind of pretty amazing. So I will chalk that one up as the official highlight.
I think that's fair. For me, it was the painting. I really pushed myself. I ended up missing, and I'm pissed about this, but I missed 32 days of painting last year.
That is still not a lot of days.
So 333 days?
Sure. Yep.
Yeah,
No,
of
that
painting. I was really wanted to keep it at 31 because then I could say that I painted for 11 months of last year. But
what if it was a leap year?
it wasn't.
I know, but if it was a leap year, that still doesn't math. But
No.
anyway, I'm trying to help.
You're not.
What if it was a lunar year? Surely there's a planet where that...
I don't know. Not in this solar system.
Yeah.
But yeah, 32. Like I got to 31. I'm like, that's it. That's the last one. I can't miss any more. And then there was one day last week. When was it? It was like 2 or 3 days before the new year when I was reorganizing the man cave and I was doing a whole heap of things, and about 3 or 4 times during the day I thought to myself, this is the stuff that I'm going to paint today. And I woke up the following morning and realized that I had not done
Any
the
of
thing.
those?
It was just the one thing. It was like I had this plan and that was my thing, and I just never actually did it. But number of models painted, I didn't finish the dwarves.
They were naked and everything.
They
You
were
didn't even
naked.
have to paint their clothes.
I know, because I've still got them upstairs. There's still a number of different colours to put on them. But dungeon bowl chests count?
Oh, it's your fucking...
That wasn't a question.
Okay, good.
They count.
No, good.
So I did 3 of them. 150.
Nailed it. I see why you've done the Dungeon Bowl chest. I see what's happened to you.
I could have kept going last night too. Like I finished off the lids for the 3 of them last night, and I have done the insides of the other 3. I could have very easily finished off the 3 lids for the
is a
others.
nice round number.
It was, and it's nice and easy to remember. So for me, that was my achievement this year. Let's just keep it positive. So.
I mean, is that talking about painting or just
Yes.
attitude? Or?
No, painting, not attitude.
Yeah,
God, no.
Fuck no. We want achievable goals, guys. It's about smart targets.
That's it. So, what was the best model that you painted? Your favorite, the one you're most proud of? Would that be the same one? Would that be the...
Look, it's on the list.
Yeah.
And the problem is I started thinking through this before the episode when we were chatting, and there are probably like 4 models that I was really happy with over the course of the year. So that was one of them. Ilva, so that's the chick on the wolf.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that was another hobby homies.
That was
wasn't it?
that was in their winter comp.
Mm-hmm.
Galadriel, which
Yep.
was the throw the dice random one, and actually from I don't know which was it, the autumn hobby homies comp, the atomic girl I did
yes.
for
Yep,
that.
yep.
Are probably the 4 that I put the most effort into and am most happy with the results. And with all of them, there are things I am not happy with.
But this is you, so...
Oh, yeah, but I mean, realistically, so if we burn through that, the Atomic Girl was actually pretty close to how I wanted it to look, except for the overall base is way too big, which just, it kind of doesn't, it ruins the composition. I feel like if I had just tightened that the hell up.
Did she come with a base? No, so
it was all scratch
you.
built, and I just made it too big, and didn't put enough stuff on it, and didn't spend. I rushed it. It was like a night or two's worth of work
On the base?
on the base.
So you didn't put enough effort into the base? That
No.
doesn't sound like you.
And I had grand plans, and then I put the whole thing off until too late, and then I didn't do them, and then I wasn't happy with them. Funny that. Fuck, are you my parents? So that was her. Galadriel, apart from being a Lord of the Rings model and just completely the wrong scale to paint well, the freehand on the base upsets me to no end, only because I had to do it twice. And I think I'm slightly happier with the first attempt that was backwards than I am with the second attempt that's facing the right way.
Always the way.
And again, I may have left things a little bit until the last minute, and didn't get to do like the second and third applications of water effects before I had to enter photos. So I wanted a little bit more of a 3-dimensional look to it that I did not end up getting. So again, not 100% happy with that.
Did you win that competition?
Maybe. I think I got a prize for that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the prize was because there was multiple categories. Rich doesn't like sticking to the standard format, which I appreciate.
Which is why we like him so much.
Ilva, again, I spent a lot of time on it. I learnt a lot about working with large-scale resin kits and, just apparently what is now part and parcel of using those kind of models, that they come not quite fitting sometimes. They come a little bit warped. They need a little bit of love and care.
And pushing and shoving.
Yeah, and I expected them to be a higher quality assembly and everything than other stuff, and that is apparently not the case. So I should have spent a lot more time in the prep and assembly and that kind of stuff that I did not. which affected the overall piece. And then I may have left things to the last minute a little bit. But it was an online competition, right?
Yeah.
So I get to take photos from any angle that I want, which means I don't necessarily have to finish painting the back.
Have you finished painting?
No. Nowhere near to the same level that I did the front, because I knew it was never going to be seen by that.
Is it at least undercoated?
Yeah, no, it's painted, but I
I
didn't
reckon
go
it'd
back.
be even funnier though if it was not undercoated at the back.
Just not at all. No, I spent a lot of time texturing fur and putting fur on this bloody wolf, and I started on the back and went, wait, I'm just not going to photograph it from this angle, and then did the rest of it. So that was never done. So a lot of learnings out of that one, and some bits where I just went fuck it, and I'm never going back because I've taken photos of it now, so it's done. And then the nobility ringer for the Blood Bowl painter competition. So there are two things. One, read the fucking rules and actually put it on the right base, dickhead. Thankfully, nobody gave a shit. And two is...
Again, probably because you put no effort into the base.
I put very little effort into the base. I didn't want it to be a standout thing.
Like if that base had been like a full diorama with other players falling over and shit like that, then there's no way.
Completely. And that's what they were trying to avoid, but I didn't do that, and I managed to get away with it. But I know for a fact that I didn't paint the eyes on that sucker, because I took the photo from a slightly top-down thing, and he's got a very sort of protruding helmet.
You and your photos.
So I was gonna, and then I looked at sort of a work-in-progress photo and went, wait, I can't see them. What the fuck am I doing? I'm on a deadline. So I didn't. So again, there are bits in that are not finished that, if you literally picked up the model and scrutinized, that it wouldn't actually stand up as much as it probably should. So they are probably the 4 that I am most happy with. And they are the 4 reasons I am not happy with them.
Oh dear. So the ones that I'm happy with, I am happy with.
Teach me.
Not unhappy. But anyway, probably, like, surprisingly, it wasn't what I thought it would be, but I think the one I'm most proud of was Gorslav, the Gravekeeper from Curse City. So he was one that I was doing live on Twitch, and he's a big sort of, zombie-esque. He's got like a kind of almost a Silent Hill type headset thing on, and he's got these long flowing robes around the bottom half of him. And he was one of those ones that I started in contrast, and as soon as I'd done it, I didn't like it. I'm like, this has not turned out the way I wanted it to. And so I left him for a while, and then went back and went, oh, okay, how the hell am I going to fix this? And started layering up on top of it. I think that was probably the moment that I realized that, for Marvel, all year I have painted my Marvel Crisis Protocols just with contrast, and it has worked. Like 95% of those are just contrast. You might use a pink for the tongue of Toad, for example, which is not contrast. But this one was the first one where I went, okay, well, contrasts seem to work really well here as the starting point. And as soon as I layered on some red onto the contrast that I had already done, he looked infinitely better. And I just kept going. And I was really proud of him. And I did like this little lava crackle base, which is totally not appropriate for Curse City, I'm sure. But he was the one I was most fond of, because it was just, again, it was that turning point for me where I'm like, there are different ways to use these contrast paints. And what works for one model is not going to work for another. Other than that, there were 2 little sets which I did, which I was really happy with, both of which I kind of followed, for the most part, the GW tutorials, and that was the vampires for Underworlds and the Dalak for Necromunda. So 4 vampires, 10 necromunda dudes. It seemed to take me forever, but as soon as they were done, I'm like, shit, I'm really happy with these. So,
Yeah.
and they were the first models that I painted the bases separately. And that, I mean, even on some of them, you can't see an awful lot of the bases anyway, but I like the fact that I did that. I don't think I'll be doing it for very many models, but it worked for them.
Because there's such a difference between the base and the model too.
Yes.
It's not like they're standing in a muddy field and the mud is halfway up the road.
Yes.
Like I
They're
think it.
standing on metal and they're wearing big, giant brown trench coats.
Yeah.
And the contrast between the base and the model itself works really well. But that was me.
Again, talk to me about how you're actually happy with things, because I'm yet to experience that.
Well, I will paint models. Generally, I paint for... See, I don't enter awful lot of competitions, mainly because I don't like getting judged. I don't like spending a lot of time on a model and thinking, I'm really happy with this, and then getting a 6 out of 10. That totally deflates me. So I don't enter a lot of competitions. So I paint models to use them. So I don't paint models to display or to enter competitions. I paint them to use them. And generally, if I paint something, it's usually good enough. There's been 1 or 2 I've painted this year that I'm like, not 100% on that one, but it'll do for the game if I use it in the game, sort of thing. So when I'm painting a squad or a team or something like that, and they turn out better than I was expecting, especially like following some of those Warhammer videos are actually really good. Even if you don't follow the color scheme and you just follow the style, it's like use a paint here, then do a dry brush here, then do an edge highlight here or something, whatever they're saying. It wasn't last year, it was the year before, I think, or the year before that, but the Magor's Fiends, Underworld's Khorne team, I followed the GW guide exactly, apart from the fact that they're Khorne, so all Khorne models are red. So anytime GW said paint red, I painted purple.
Close enough.
Excuse me.
I will not.
Oh, okay. But watching those videos and painting to that style, and then the end result being somewhat close to what they get on the videos is actually quite, for me, uplifting. Definitely.
No, that's fair. Because, I also know sometimes those videos are a little bit... Like, you have got professional painters who spend all day, every day painting a lot of things, and sometimes the GW kind of walkthroughs skip steps.
Yes.
And sort of you go from, step 1, undercoat the thing, step 2, throw some colour on it, step 3, it's finished, and all of a sudden it looks 1,000 times better.
Yeah.
They're doing better, I think, at being a little bit more transparent about what the steps are. But also, like, I know people who have looked at a GW thing and gone, I'm going to do that colour scheme.
Yep.
And then my version doesn't quite look the same as their version because they have got professional painters doing this shit. And they've spent, like, it's their job. You can spend more time. That it's, you're not comparing apples with apples as well. So it is good if when they're putting out that content that kind of actually steps you through the whole process, and your piece can look more or less like what they've done.
For want of a better scale, but if the end result on that GW video is, say, a 10, and I churn out a 7 or an 8, I'm really happy with that. So, because, without that video doing my own style, it might be a 5 or a 2. So those were the ones I was most happy with anyway. And, Gorslav, he was, as Bob Ross likes to say, a happy little accident.
Oh, that guy is the guy that keeps on giving.
Not to his family anymore.
Well, no. But,
That's
to us, in meme form.
In
And that's
meme form,
mainly the
yes,
important
yes,
thing, really.
yes. It's-
What is the currency of this generation?
Yes, memes. You're right. Moving on. In probably an answer that will shock no one, the best game for the year.
Best game is hard to call. What I will say...
Or most favourite, or most fun.
Well, what I'll say for
Or
this
just game, full
is the
stop.
piece that's probably got me the most motivated. And there are two easy candidates here, but I'm going to throw Marvel Crisis Protocol into the ring, and that is because we started playing with some shit out of the box with the box thing, and
Yep.
then the next time we sort of caught up, models were painted. And we still had, the terrain out of the box, which was not enough on a blank table and all that kind of jazz. And then the next time we show up, there's a little bit more terrain, or it's been a little bit painted, or it's more shit's undercoated. And every time I've shown up for a game of Marvel Crisis Protocol, there's been a little bit extra. And that I've found really motivating to just keep that snowballing. So not only am I really enjoying the game, I really enjoy the objective kind of idea. I enjoy the theme element. I enjoy just the overall mechanic of the piece, the fact that it is still skirmish scale, and all that jazz. But just the way that we've been relatively consistent in games, but every time it's been the game has been a little bit more immersive because we've done a little bit more to create that. It's just been really easy to keep the motivation up, and I think that's probably the piece I've been I'm very much one of those people where playing games gets me hobbying, and then seeing stuff hobbied gets me playing games, which gets me, and it does. It's this kind of perpetual motion machine, and we've seemed to have started to get that happening, and I've missed that probably for a lot. I haven't had a lot of games recently where I've had enough frequent kind of things going on with other people. And
it's been consistent too. It really has. And you're right. Like, it's been a constant thing and a constant growing thing. And not only that, but the game's really good.
Yeah, it makes it really easy. And it also makes it easy when we're not having bad games because we're not playing against dickheads. Unfortunately, and this is probably the challenge, and this is me jumping ahead a little bit here. How do we expand what we're doing so we're playing against more rosters and people and stuff without having bad games? Because the good thing about this is I know I'm playing you or I'm playing Jared or it's someone I know, and the game is going to be good. We could be playing fucking Naked Twister and the game would be good.
Oh, the game would be so good.
That'd be actually probably better. We should just think about doing that.
I'll bring the oil.
Fuck, we could play, Monopoly and not hate each other. It'd still be a good game, but you add a good game to that and it's next level. And that's probably the piece I've been most nervous about, is expanding this a little bit more and keeping the level of, engagement and immersion, and not having just the it's been an unfortunate thing of previous communities I've been into where there's just one or two little bad seeds that just, you kind of hope you don't have to play that person this week.
Yep. I've been there. I've been there, especially with Blood Bowl. I was a member of the Melbourne Blood Bowl League for a couple of years, and
You have to play that person then.
yeah, so there are some people who are great, no problems, awesome people to play with, and there are some that just take that a little bit too far.
Yeah.
But I think for MCP, I think the next step, we definitely need to play against more people.
Yeah.
We do have sort of two people ready and willing, two of our Patreons who are
Well, they're good people.
the nicest of people, obviously.
That's easy.
So both Clinton and Alice have pretty much decent rosters that, they just need a game. So I think that's got to be our next step.
Absolutely. All right, that's my game. Mm-hmm. Where are you at?
I definitely with you on MCP. The other one for me was Blood Bowl 7s.
I mean, the other game, really.
It takes everything that is great about Blood Bowl and shortens it into a little tiny package that you can just hug.
Actually play.
Yes. And the only thing, like the only negative that we've had with Blood Bowl 7s this year has been COVID and lockdowns and delays happening to games that have been going on. But yeah, definitely Blood Bowl 7s, definitely MCP. I was thinking about this, being the DC person that I am, would I like MCP if it was DC? And I don't know. I would like the characters, but I think MCP is it has that sort of bright feel about it, which suits Marvel more than it suits DC. I don't know. There we go. The rats are going a bit nuts. Yeah, I don't know if it would work with DC, but that's just me.
I mean, I'm trying to work out whether it's the characters that give it the brightness too. I don't know. I mean,
I think it does.
You could throw a Justice League in there.
You could, but the
Darkseid Ultimate Encounter would still be a thing.
True.
They do, although, and this is completely tangential, but fuck it, that's why we're here. I was listening to some, so after I'd seen Spider-Man, listening to some Marvel Crisis Protocol content as I was painting Medusa, talking about Spider-Man villains and the fact that they are potentially a bit darker than a few of the other
potentially,
Marvel
yes,
villains, and how that was interesting in what is such. I mean, I suppose the interesting piece is there is the contrast between Spider-Man's lighthearted, quippy kind of thing, dealing with people who are in similar situations, potentially, and dealing with them in a very different way. They're a lot more human-ish, and it's about how the humans react. And I feel like DC do that a lot more, and that's probably where it's harder to keep that kind of bright, happy feel.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it is. I mean, I enjoy MCP a lot more than I thought I would, considering it is Marvel. So, and that was a shock for me. But then again, like for example, the Batman miniatures game, the thought of it completely terrifies me because it just looks so complicated.
This is it. I feel like they've struck a really good balance between sort of playability and depth and not overcomplicating it for the sake of it.
I think MCP as a game is probably as accessible, or not, maybe that's the wrong words, but there's a contrast between MCP as a game and being sort of a bit more all around, a bit more all inclusive, like the cinema experience is. I think a lot more people would get into MCP than
And look, also arguably the success of the cinema franchise is probably a massive part of that as well. Blood Bowl 7s though, let's just refocus back. I honestly don't know when I would choose to play 11s.
Well, I mean, I picked up the corn pitch the other day.
I mean, that is why we would choose.
And it's very pretty, and it looks incredible, and I need it in my life. But I can't at all put a finger on when I will actually use it because it's an 11s pitch. It's not a 7s pitch. And that's the level that 7s has integrated into me right now.
Yeah, I'm in the same space where I don't know how many. I'm currently looking at the models for teams that I haven't assembled and got ready and going, so are you a 7s team or a Dungeon Ball team, or can I bastardize you for both? Because that's where my focus is.
Yep.
Very much so. Yeah, I don't know that I need the extra time that 11 players the extra complexity that 11 players on the pitch makes. And I don't know that I get enough out of the 11's skill progression that I'm missing out.
well,
That's the difference,
That
right?
is the difference, yes. So
The
11
level of
skills.
choice. And, that star player point farming, so you can have those kind of super characters and all that. Like, that's kind of where the difference really is. Whereas Sevens really aims to be a low team value. Like, they keep it there.
Yeah,
But
there's
also-
definitely no Hollywood star
No.
high elf players.
But that's actually kind of almost the bit I like as well. Because you do have that player or that team that is leveled to fucking high hell. And it is no longer a my team versus your team. It is either this player does their thing and you win, or they don't for some bizarre reason because you roll too many ones. Because it's not going to have anything to do with me because they have all the skills to avoid
Yep.
anything I can do. Or, I feel like it's either Hail Mary or nothing.
No, that
I
makes
love
sense.
the fact that they don't have star players. So you don't have the issue that the broader 11s leagues have with star players. I'm okay with playing with starting rosters, like, to be honest. Or just slightly skilled starting rosters where you've got a couple of skills here and there and smattered. I think it's at that sweet spot. I don't get enough out of developing teams to give up the efficiency of sevens.
No, that's fair. Yeah, I think Blood Bowl 7's MCP, I think anybody listening to this that has listened to any other episodes
That's what we're
would have
playing.
absolutely no shock at that answer from both of
surprised.
us.
Look, there's other stuff I really want to play more of, but
This last year,
yeah,
it was those two.
that's it.
So, one more question for you. Do you have a particular moment in a game that stuck out to you?
And this was the one that I got stuck on. And I was really hoping during the course of this episode something would, like lightning strike my brain and be like, yeah, that was the thing that really fucking cemented 2021. But unfortunately, you making 1,000 dodges of my stalling was last year. And that was my 2021 moment. And I haven't managed to fuck up that badly this Blood Bowl season to have
No.
2021 moment to play. So
Look, it wasn't a fuck up moment, that game. It was just...
that should not have happened.
It shouldn't have happened. But it's one of those moments. That's what Blood Bowl is good for. It's like the dice will never go in your favour unless you need to make these 17 dice rolls to win or draw.
And look,
And sometimes that'll happen more often than not.
and that is legitimately the last thing that happened in a game of Blood Bowl for me was the sevens game I was playing against Dylan recently, where it was like the last turn of the game and I had to make stupid dice rolls with no rerolls to level.
Yep.
And it's only because I needed to make stupid dice rolls that it worked. If
Yeah.
it had been something that was fair and reasonable and a sure thing, not a chance in hell. But that was a very much a summing up Blood Bowl kind of moment that just really, really tickled. I mean, I'm sure that there is, and if I go back and actually listen to recaps of games, there would have been some bullshit attack in Marvel Crisis Protocol that resulted in absolutely nothing. Although, what was it? So actually, and we didn't really get into this, but I played a game of Marvel with Jared in the last week, and he threw a 16 dice attack.
16. With
Hulk.
16. So the last episode we talked about the game that you guys played
Oh, it
with
might have been-
hammers.
It might
And
have
then
been
you
that. No,
play-
it might have been that one.
Yeah.
We have played another one since then, which was also good fun.
That 16 dice is now less. Now that Hulk has been
Yes,
changed.
buffed. But he gets
Changed.
less dice.
He gets less
Yeah.
dice, so it's one every four.
Four,
whereas
not
now
every three. Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean, things that would not have affected the outcome at all. Whereas I had a moment in the most recent game that we played where over the course of being delivered by Captain Marvel and then having a full turn, She-Hulk threw 21 dice worth of attacks at Hawkeye.
All of them at Hawkeye?
All of them at Hawkeye.
Oh, that's not a good sign.
And threw a building at him.
And was he standing?
Yes. He was not even KO'd.
That sort of sums up your MCP playing
Yeah.
so far this year, or last year.
Yeah, Captain Marvel literally dropped her off turn one and she did her basic. It's a 7 dice builder.
Yep.
And then she took a turn and did 2 of those because I thought one will do and I'll knock him out and then I'll do something else. No, he was still there. And then, so 21 attacks and then I threw a building at him just out of sheer frustration and he still stood at the end of it. I think he'd taken, a couple of damage. He was still up and kicking.
It's probably because he had his own TV show by then.
Yeah, fucking dry. Prima donna. So these are the moments I think that really sum up 2021.
Well, there's just, when I thought of this, it was just the one. There was one moment that summed everything up for me that just sticks in my mind. And you even said it to me. You said, well, yours has got to be this. And I'm like, well, it is. That's what I've written down. And it's when 3-player MCP game, Magneto is throwing things left and right and picks up this tiny little trash can and just whiffs it at the back of Widow's head for a potential 1 damage, which succeeded.
That is all you needed.
It was all. It was just. I don't know what that did. I don't even know if it knocked her out or anything. I don't care.
Pretty sure it
I
did.
threw that little tiny trash can
back of her
and
head.
it worked.
Yeah.
And that was glorious. And that was my moment.
Which did lead me directly into the Ultron game that we played, the Ultimate Encounter with Ultron, where we were searching through that trash can, left, right, and centre for little Timmy.
It was the same trash can.
It was the same. And I looked in that trash can, and little Timmy was not in it.
No.
And then Ultron did a thing and destroyed the trash can, and little Timmy popped right out.
Yep. It's like a magician's trick.
Can't pull a rabbit out of a hat. I can pull a hair out of my arse.
It had a fake bottom to the trash can and he was just hiding in the dirt underneath. Well. Anyway, that was 2021 for us.
Impressively, there were still moments. There were still things.
Even with everything going on.
Absolutely. There's still mild frustration that we didn't manage to knock off that Sevens League.
We're end of this month, it will be done, one way or the other.
Which is exciting.
Yes.
I'm pumped for a reset more than anything. I feel like this season has just, unfortunately, due to everything and the fact that 2021 has affected everyone individually at different times, means that just stars have not aligned.
Yes.
I'm really hoping for a little bit more just momentum.
Well, I did put out the question on Facebook. It was the December competition. Just basically give us one of your highlights from our episodes. The overall majority was the painted pink was the best thing we did, which I would certainly agree with.
Look, it's probably the most value that we've added.
Yes, definitely.
Equally, I would say, the previous one, if we had asked the same question the year before, it would have been...
I think we answered the same thing.
Exactly.
So just the interaction that we got with that was just huge and really humbling. I did want to read out a couple of other tiny little things that people said. So we had one comment... Too many moments to choose from, but a standout was re-listening to older episodes and hearing Jace say that the Lord of the Rings fellowship would be quick and easy, and then listening to the pain every subsequent episode.
It should have been quick and easy. It was going to be. And I understand that I've just kicked off 2021 by saying exactly the same thing about a slightly different thing, but that one will be. It's fine. I got this.
And there was another comment which mentioned the smooth my balls spots.
Did I ever tell you that I cashed that in?
No?
Yeah.
Did you? Hold on. Let's just put a pause on the rest of this episode. Continue.
Well, I can't remember. I was actually looking for and this fell back to, it must have been a Father's Day thing, because I was looking for a set of clippers for home because COVID haircuts were a thing, and I'm like, well, fuck it, this is on sale. I'm going to give this a red hot crack. So yeah, I currently own.
So you have a Smooth My Balls kit.
Yes.
This is the greatest thing ever. No, you did not tell me that. I would not have forgotten that.
No, I cashed that fucker in.
Because we didn't set anything up.
No, we
did
didn't.
We didn't.
And unfortunately, I'm not sure that I can, in good conscience, recommend.
Are they not as smooth as you would hope?
I feel like their whole catchphrase, apart from the smoothness piece, was about a lack of damage.
Yes. Gotcha. Dear.
That was a low light of 2021, and 2021 had a lot of low lights.
Oh my God, why didn't I hear about this earlier? All right, 2022. It's a new year. Same shit, different bucket. What are you looking forward to? Anything that you're hoping for?
I mean, a lot of things. Do we put in the token winning Tats Lotto so I can quit my job situation here? No, there's a few things, and one will come up slightly later in the the episode. But I feel like just a level of regularity, as I mentioned before, it was kind of, there's a level of frustration, or just not even frustration, but there's a piece that just sucks the motivation out of you when you can't get games in, you can't get things happening regularly, and you're not hobbying, and it's just easy to get refocused and watch TV or do something else or whatever. So I'm really hoping that 2022 lets us build that momentum.
Well, realistically, 2022 is going to be different because we're all pretty much double vaxxed.
Yeah.
There's not going to be the lockdowns. What is going to happen is that at some point everybody's going to get COVID.
Correct.
So we're not going to have lockdowns. We're going to have ISO.
Yeah. So it's going to be individual based, not necessarily group based, which I think is scarily a benefit for what I'm hoping for here.
Yep.
And, not that I'm hoping for anyone to get COVID, but I'll have to isolate.
It's going to happen. Like I think even one of the professionals came out the other day and said, "Look, the fact of the matter is, we are all going to get it at some point."
Yeah. So I mean that's the thing, but the isolations are reducing. All that kind of jazz. So I feel like it is going to be a way to get more regular games in, more regular hobby in, more regular human contact in, and just as a result of that, it is going to be more motivation to do things. The other thing that I have probably been putting off for a lot longer than I should have, and it's not going to happen right away, but as much as I talked about sort of competition pieces that I had entered, all of these competitions have either been online or they have been local, like relatively local and things like that. So, big fish, small pond kind of piece, or able to hide behind just the anonymity
fact that the back of it wasn't done.
You can put your best foot forward. You're not exposing everything what's and all. And I feel like what I do need to do in the next, 12 months is probably a long enough period of time is actually put myself on open and out there and just throw something in. I know that they're running the Crimson Brush, which is a new painting competition out of CanCon that I'm not going to make. That's kind of the first big one, but I fully expect there to be something a little bit more accessible a little bit later in the year. that I'm going to have to actually just show up in person, put physical models on a table and go, please just
Judge me.
do it. Yeah. And it actually doesn't matter what the result is. It doesn't matter what the feedback is. The step for me there is actually just pulling the trigger and putting myself out there more than anything. So it doesn't matter what I put out and what the result is. And it's just the fact that it's been a competition, that there are some pretty fucking amazing painters around Australia that would enter anything of a large scale, and, you know, putting your best work against their best work is intimidating.
Yeah.
So just getting over that piece is honestly the step that I'm really hoping to do. But what I need to do that is to not leave something to the last minute and rush it and skip doing the back and everything, and actually, you know, it's almost a start now. So whenever this happens, it's actually ready, it's actually finished. Complete the piece. Don't get bored halfway and wander off. You know, there's all of that stuff. Apart from that, I feel like with 2021, I spent a lot of time just playing with new toys. Like, the one thing you could do was buy shit. So I bought a lot of contrast paints. I bought a lot of oils. I bought a lot of, you know, different things to play with. And I've spent some time playing with all of them, and all of them have their uses. And I feel like what I need to do is actually go back to basics with 2021 and actually go, well, here's fundamentally how I paint, and here's when I might add in these things, because I've just been playing with them to try things for the last however long, which has been fun. But, you know, there's also something to be said about just getting shit done and, you know,
making your
refining
own
the basics.
making your own style out of all the tools available to you.
And just sort of getting back to basics, because, you know, there's been a lot of times I've been painting stuff in recent history where I haven't necessarily picked up the usual paint that I would normally pick up to paint a model. The result is always a little bit of an unknown.
Yep.
And so I think, you know, going back to basics a little bit, and then just injecting those tools when they're most appropriate, rather than just using them for the sake of trying something new. But apart from that, I mean, more sevens, more Marvel, and then anything else is bonus. Like, I want to play more Kings of War. I want to do some more stuff. I want to get some more actual finished projects, but, you know, everything else is a bonus.
That seems fair enough. For me, painting-wise, I mean, the year before last, I went from 86 models that year to 150 last year. I'm not even going to try to match that. I want to keep going and keep painting as much as I can, even just a little bit each day. But overall, I'm aiming for a positive result. So more models painted than purchased or given.
Yeah.
So I started that early by buying the corn team 2 days ago, whatever it was.
Yep. So we're at a negative at the moment.
No, that was last year. I bought it last year.
Oh, I see what you've done here. Yeah.
So this year, I'm still at a rock hard 0.
How long you reckon you can keep that up?
I don't know. I'm trying to work it out. So, actually, no. Technically, you just handed me a sprue, didn't you?
Oh, so this is what I need to do.
I didn't even think of that. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. There's 6 models on that sprue. So I'm at -6 at the moment.
Great. And so every time you paint something,
I'm going to write that down because I will forget that. -6. So every time I paint something, I want to end it. I mean, I'll still keep a track of how many models I finish painting this year, but at the end result is I want to be at a decent positive level. I want to be churning into that backlog a little bit, you know, doing some of the old Underworld screws that I just kept on buying but haven't painted them all, that sort of thing. Games-wise, definitely more MCP, definitely more Sevens, definitely more Dungeon Bowl. Any advance on that one game that I've played would be good.
And now you own it. I feel like you have a moral obligation.
Yes. Yeah.
So Underworlds is the one that I'm not sure about.
Yeah, look, I have not done any sort of looking into purchasing anything more for Underworlds, but up until the newest release, I had almost all the warbands, and I think it was only missing one Sigma one.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure I'm over half of them painted easy, but that leaves a good percentage of them unpainted.
But there's still a lot of pretty ass models.
Oh, look, there's the lizards, there's the underworld elves, things like that. Things I can paint.
You can see where we've dropped off playing games because Underworlds is the one that I own crews for that are not painted or half painted, and then we stopped playing, and then I never actually finished them off. So, I mean, that's the kind of case in point there. I don't know if I can be bothered with another rule set.
No, I'm kind of feeling I don't know if I can be bothered trying to keep up again.
No, I mean, I'm definitely not interested in keeping up, but I'm almost at that point where I'm like, I liked the game. In a vacuum, it's fine.
I mean, I played 2 tournaments of Underworlds.
Yeah.
I think I came, 3rd or 4th in the first one and came 1st in the second one. And so it was the sort of game that I could see myself playing more at the time, but enough time has drifted between games that it'll be now a social game.
Absolutely. And I think just trying to find out the best way to wangle that as a social game.
And that's the trick, isn't it? Because when you incorporate cards into it as well and keeping the balance even between people. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, more Dungeon Ball, more MCP, more Sevens, and then a couple of Kickstarters that will probably arrive this year. So Masters and X-Men United.
Yeah.
Looking forward to them.
Absolutely. More United, actually. That's been one of those ones I've wanted to bust out both painting and playing. And there's probably a piece in there about trying some different styles that, again, I've been putting off. But I want to paint some of those, and I want to play some more United.
I would love to play some more. Absolutely. That's about it from me. Anything else from you before we go on to what's on announcements?
I keep going for days, but just of shit I'd like to do, but probably won't. So let's not put them down too much. So I don't.
Not too much evidence. So announcements. Let's kick it off. First of all, we ran a little competition in December. It was pretty much going to be a sort of prize pack, as much tailored to the winner as possibly could be done. All you had to do was comment on our Facebook post about what was your favourite part of any episode that we did this year. As normal, Patreon's got free entries. We drew that tonight, and the winner is Lockie. So congratulations, Lockie. I will chuck the video up for that of the draw after this episode goes live, I think. I'm seeing him tomorrow, so I don't think I'll let him know.
Make him listen. That's how you do it.
That's it.
Then we just have to work out what is appropriate for the winner.
Oh, I've got a couple of ideas.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I'll work it out. So that moves us on to January. We are now in January. Hurrah! This is my month. I like January. Somebody has a birthday in January. It's good.
Oh, I was going to say you do too.
I do. So what we've thought is we have run little competitions last 2 months. Let's kick it up a notch and have did we actually speak about this? Shall we do it combined January, February?
Yes.
2 months?
That is what we said.
Okay, good. I wasn't sure if we'd actually finalise that or not, but I was just going to say it anyway. So let's kick it back into gear and let's start the new year with a bit of a painting competition.
Competition is still the wrong way to look at these things.
Painting
challenge, event,
episode,
excuse.
Yeah, painting excuse. I think that. Let's run with that. Yeah. All right. So this painting excuse, what we have come up with is, again, post a picture of. We'll put an event up. Post a picture of the model or models that you are pledging up there, and then you've got until the end of Feb to get them done. And the idea is you may use any colours you like to paint them, as long as those colours are black, white, and then 2 colours of your choice.
Yeah. So this is all about limiting the amount of colour you can throw at things to any 2 colours that you choose, and then black and white.
Yep.
You can mix them, you can mash them together.
Different shades. If you choose blue, for example, you can have a model that is black and white and then shades of blue. So you can still do your highlights or dry brushes or however you want to do it. It's just the actual number of colours which is the limitation. Mm-hmm. So let's see what people come up with.
So on that, and we'll put this in the events, what I would love to see is on the post where you say, here's the model I'm going to paint, you also include what colours you're going to use.
Yep.
I would, and this is what I'm going to try, and it may fail abysmally, but I'm going to try it anyway, right? Is to actually post the 4 pots of paint that I'm going to use and only use those 4 pots of paint.
Ooh, see,
Here's the black,
impressive.
here's the white, and here's the 2 colours. I don't feel the need to do exactly the same thing, but,
Like, by all means, if you like shades of blue, for example, blue with a bit of white, with a bit more white, with a bit more white.
You see where I'm going here?
You can do all that sort of stuff. Yeah, look, I have in my mind what I'm going to do.
Oh, fuck, I don't.
But yeah, I have been thinking about this for a little bit longer than you have, so that's fine. But yes, no, I have plans. But that'll be January and February, so we'll end at end of February and announce the winners early March.
Yeah, and contrary to previous events, we will come up with a prize pool in advance. We will announce that, we will kind of promote it, and you will know what you're playing for.
We've done a lot of prep this episode, a lot of thinking and talking before this episode about numerous things, none of which was surprises, but we will work that out. So watch this space.
I have a couple of ideas, though.
Oh, I'm sure you do. So you got ideas about that. I got ideas about what I'm painting. Last, but definitely not least.
Possibly most.
I like most. Most for me.
I think it's most.
I think it's most. Although, painting competitions always go down well. We are joining forces with our man Tricky Dicky at Throw the Dice.
We are not only joining forces, we are crossing streams. We are
Bumping swords.
He is the meat in our sandwich.
He is. And it's what glorious meat he is too. The 5th of February. So this is, what are we, just over a month away.
Yeah, so all right here, what I'll let you do is just take a moment, go and find your diary, open your phone, your Google Calendar, I don't know how you write things down to remember them for the future. But here is the moment where you go and find a pen and a calendar or something and be prepared to put something on the February 5 little square.
Yes. Cross that little thing off, say you're not allowed to work, can't work, you're busy.
You are unavailable that day because you have something to do. You have a prior engagement. You have better things than anything else. Are you getting married that day? You've got better things
Not
to
anymore.
do.
Not anymore.
Baby Jim? Hold it.
Put those legs together. This is hopefully the first of many, or at least more than one. But we are going to be hosting a tournament at Throw the Dice on the 5th of February. This will be, all the details for this will go up shortly. We pretty much have more or less finalised all the details. But if you have listened and are tempted by it, or have played and have enjoyed a certain game called Blood Bowl Sevens,
Even if you're just sevens curious.
By all means, Seven's curious. We welcome you.
If you're Blood Bowl curious, I reckon we could make it work.
Absolutely. Look, this is going to be a Blood Bowl Sevens event. It will go for the day at Throw the Dice. We want it. The basic rules are going to be very simple. We're not going to complicate things with,
I've already been told to get back in my box.
Yes.
There's no team tiers. There's no skill packs. There's no any of the craziness. There's no progression. It's just basic sevens.
This is an excuse to get a few people together and play some Blood Bowl and enjoy. And even if you're new to Blood Bowl or to sevens, like this is hopefully going to be...
This is the ground floor.
Easy enough for everyone. It will be, like we said, Throw the Dice, 5th of February. Keep it free. Thoughtless Bowl is coming.
I can smell it.
Sorry.
Yeah, okay. But honestly, so this was the other thing in, looking forward to 2022. This was the other massive piece. And I haven't been involved in running an event seriously for far too long. And it used to be a significant amount of the time I put into hobby with different games and just haven't had the time, energy, capacity or, fucking will to make it happen. So I am super pumped about just running something for people to come along, throw some dice, throw the dice. I didn't even plan that, but it happened. But just have fun playing some Blood Bowl, playing some sevens. It's going to be super cruisy. It's going to be plenty of time for games. It's not going to be super competitive. You're not going to be dealing with dickheads because I will kick them the fuck out. So it is going to be the perfect opportunity just to spend a day playing some sevens.
We want this to be as fun as possible for everyone involved, us included. So
yeah, I'm so pumped about being involved in events again, though.
Like I said, I'm hoping that this is something that we get to do on a more regular basis. And I mean, what better way to kick it off than Blood Bowl Sevens? But
There's
no limit to what sort of things we can do. If you are interested but haven't played and kind of want a game beforehand, maybe just hit us up. We more than happy to run you through the rules, help you out, give you any sort of advice. This is, like we say, we want it fun, we want it easy, we want everyone to enjoy themselves.
That is as easy as a get got. Like that is the moral of the story here. If you want to show up and have a fucking awesome ass day playing some Blood Bowl, February 5, throw the dice. Just come. If you don't know how to play Blood Bowl, well, let's fix it. If you don't have a team, we can fix that.
Yeah.
If you want to try something new, we can fix that. Like there is very little that we cannot remedy.
There are very little rules and prerequisites to this tournament. So we will chuck all that up on the Facebook page. We will create the event. We will create the event for the painting event.
Fuck, we've got events coming out.
Yeah.
Left, right, and...
We're hitting the ground running this year.
We're going to trip.
We're totally going to fall on our faces.
That's March's problem.
But I think that's enough.
That's the important stuff.
Yeah. Anyway, I got nothing more to say.
I mean, I could keep talking, but not add value. So you should probably stop there.
Well, if we didn't want to talk unless we were adding value, then what's the point in doing the podcast?
I meant add value to what we already like. If that's the bar, I can't even maintain that. It's all downhill from here.
No, you heard it here first. Thank you very much to our Patreons. If you haven't already, give us a follow. Facebook, Spotify, Podbean, Twitch, Twidbean. I will be... I've I've actually got some gear coming to help with streaming. So the idea there is that there will be, God, these rats are very active this time of night. The idea there will be that the streaming will happen a bit more often, which will be good. But from Jason and I, we're wishing you a very happy 2022. Let's hope it's great for everyone.
Let's make 22 great again.
Yes.
Again.
Again.
This is a Back to the Future moment. Shit.
No. Anyway, that's it. Laters.
Thoughtless casual gaming. Thoughtless casual gaming. Thoughtless casual gaming. Thoughtless